Okay, so we are going to continue our coverage over A.X.E Judgement Day, and we actually pick up with the 4th chapter of the main storyline. With that being said, we pick up with Steve Rogers, Captain America, who's right now trying to calm down a crowd of people. And the reason why, because the world is going to die. Because let's not forget, you do have Celestial right now saying, I'm going to judge everybody across the board. Everybody's going to get judged. But if you guys get more downvotes than upvotes, your world is going to die. And unfortunately right now, we have a whole lot more downvotes than upvotes. Now, Steve Rogers also got a downvote because, hey, Homeboy lifetime goal was to help lead America in a better direction. Unfortunately, he failed at that job, and so he got a downvote. And we see him right now trying to calm down a crowd of people because these folks right here have also been judged. They also got downvote. But at the same time, it's Steve saying, guys, we're not going to die. We're going to survive. You have to have faith. But the problem is they can't have faith in him because he also got downvoted. And so how can they trust someone who also failed like they did? And matter of fact, they're still upset with the idea that the mutant race has a way to bring people back to life, but unfortunately, they only kept it to themselves. They did not try to share with the human race at all. And so humans are mad at the mutants. Humans are mad at the Eternals. Humans are mad the world's going to die, and unfortunately, the heroes cannot win. But then we jump over to Tony Stark and his crew. When I say his crew, I really mean the people who had helped Tony create this god or bring this god back to life. Either way, you have Cersei tell us, the readers, that she was able to think of a plan. And that plan is to use Eros. I think it's Eros. But he is the brother to Thanos. And when it comes to Eros, he has the ability to spread love. And so their main goal is to have Eros spread love into the Celestial to hopefully change its mind, to hopefully realize that humans are not that bad, but on top of that, to hopefully leave the world alone. Except that is the moment you have Eros say, that is a dumb plan. Because right now we are being tested across the board. Every single person on this planet who are from this planet is being tested at the moment, which means that your plan is not truthfully going to work. If we want to actually defeat this being, we have to show it that the world can come together as one. That's my goal right there, to spread love across the entire world. And what I'm going to do is try to make different deals across the board to bring people together to hopefully show the Celestial the human race is not that bad as it thinks it is. But after that, that is when we see other people across the world being judged. Now again, it's not just heroes, it's every single being across the world. So you could be a hero or you could be a regular person. You're still getting judged. And so we're seeing a range of different characters. Daredevil, Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, Doctor Doom. The list goes on and on and on. But at the same time, you also have regular people who are also getting judged. They're also getting downvoted or upvoted. But the problem is though, we're seeing more downvotes rather than seeing more upvotes. And that again is a problem. Because for example, Miles, he's able to get an upvote. So was Miss Marvel. But a lot of other characters like Luke Cage got a downvote. But Doctor Doom, well, he gave himself an upvote, which I found pretty funny. But either way, a lot of people across the board downvote, downvote, downvote. And that shows that sooner or later, when it comes to the final judgment, the world could most likely be killed off in a moment here. And so then we see Eros begin the process of trying to build a connection, a bond between all three groups, the Eternals, the mutants, and the humans. And the reason why, because again, we have to show the Celestial that we can stand together as one. And so what he is saying right now is the mutants and the Eternals will both offer their technology and give it over to the humans. And honestly, that's a good idea because when it comes to the humans, they're upset with the mutants right now because again, the mutants have the ability to bring someone back to life, but they kept that to themselves. And the same thing for the Eternals as well. And so why not share technology with the human race? Because unfortunately, when it comes to the human race, only Tony Stark and Reed Richards and maybe a few other characters are building great things for the human race. But mutants are moving faster. Eternals been around for a very long time, so they have advanced technology. So why not share it? With that being handled, they still have other problems like the Eternals, really Droog, the Prime Eternal. And the reason why, because Droog found out a very dark secret about the Deviants, that technically Deviants were made by Celestials to help bring in new kind of beings into the world, like the mutant race. The mutants are an off branch of the Deviants. And so right now when he found out, oh, the Deviants are mutants as well, he's all like, it's time for me to go ahead and kill them off. And so it led to a war between the two races. But with that being said, you have Cersei and the other characters with her saying that they need to stop him sooner or later, because if he gets more desperate to win this war, he could release Uranos. And if he does, it's the end for Earth, because we already know what he did on Mars in 1 hour, killing off 98% of the mutants on Arakko in 1 hour. And that is huge. And so if he comes to Earth, it could be game over all over again. And matter of fact, you have Drew trying his best to not release his grandfather. And so his main goal is to try to use the Unimind as a way to attack Krakoa and to hopefully defeat them. Now, when it comes to the Unimind is really more of a connection of minds between all the Eternals coming together to give out a very powerful psychic attack on the mutant race. Now, when it comes to the mutants, unfortunately, their numbers are very limited, because right now, most of their psychics have been knocked out or just trying to recover. Now, luckily for the mutants, that is the moment you didn't have the outcast group of Eternals come in, and they bring down the firewall around the Unimind. And the reason why that is so important is because now the mutants are able to connect their minds to the Uniminds, and they then call for a vote, a new Prime Eternal, to get rid of Droog. As a matter of fact, when it comes to the votes, they were able to get rid of Droog and choose a new Prime Eternal, and that would be Eros, the brother to Thanos, or Eros, sorry. Either way, right after he wins, you have Droog freak out, and now he wants to make sure the entire world is wiped out, and so he releases grandfather, and that would be Uranos. And so the big problem on Arakko from earlier is now on Earth right now. And as soon as our heroes realize that Uranos is free, it's more of like, okay, all hands on deck right now, because Uranos is free, and we already know what he did on Arakko. He could most likely do it again on Earth right now, even though there's more characters on Earth who are really powerful. Either way, you have Uranos just go on his rampage. Now, luckily for our heroes, the mutants of Arakko do arrive. Not all of them, really just the X-Men team, the X-Men Red team. So Storm, Sunspot, and Magneto. Now, let's not forget, Magneto only came here to get revenge on Uranos, because the last time we saw Magneto, Uranos was able to punch a hole, literally a hole, into Magneto's chest, but he was able to use his powers as a way to keep himself alive. And so this is Magneto saying, if I die, I want to make sure I'm able to actually defeat Uranos. Now, Magneto knows that he cannot actually kill off Uranos, but what he could do is save everybody's lives from Uranos. And so luckily for Magneto, Tony Stark was able to hack into the Eternal systems and to open up the portals that control Uranos, meaning that once you have Magneto take control over those portals, he was able to teleport Uranos back into his cell again. And so just like that, the battle's over. Unfortunately, Magneto had to use a lot of energy to do that. And so now we're going to get the death of Magneto. Now, when it comes to Eros, he wants to use this moment because he realized that with the humans, the mutants, and also the Eternals coming together to actually bring down Uranos, it should show the Celestial that the human race is not a bad race, that they're able to come together and work together to overcome major obstacles like Uranos. And so this is Eros saying, look, don't you agree? The human race is actually a good race. What we did is amazing. We came together. So please give us a fair judgment. And when it comes to our heroes, they believe they're going to get a thumbs up. Unfortunately, they get a thumbs down. And then you have the Celestial release a huge amount of energy where Steve Rogers is at. Now, luckily for Steve Rogers, he was able to hide behind his shield, but everybody around him was not able to do that. And they were killed off in a flash. And so just like that, when it came to the Celestial, he just killed off a huge chunk of people. And matter of fact, he is going to continue to do that across the world until the entire world is actually completely destroyed. And so then we jump into X-Men Red number 7. And when we do, we deal with the death of Magneto. And this is so huge. And the reason why, because you would think that Magneto would not die. You probably thought, hey, you know what? Somebody gonna come in at the very last second, save his life, and he'll be A-okay. Unfortunately, though, that did not happen. He died because he used the rest of his powers to fight against Uranos, and with him doing that, he now no longer has the ability to keep himself alive. So he dies in the arms of Storm. But here's the thing, because when it came to Storm and also Magneto, they had destroyed their backups when it came to Cerebro. Because with the mutant race having the ability to bring people back to life, well, just mutants back to life, they have to make sure that your backup is in Cerebro, because those backups hold your memories. And so when your new clone body is made, they're able to download you into your new clone body. But without the backups, they can no longer do that. Now, yes, they are able to bring Magneto back to life. The problem is, though, it would just be a shell of a man, because he would not have Magneto's memories at all. Just a brand new brain, a brand new body, a brand new day, and the only things he could remember is what Psychic can add into his mind, and that is it. And so it's Magneto saying, go ahead and let me go. Go ahead and let me die. And so he does die in the arms of Storm. But right before he does that, he tells Storm, please watch over Charles Xavier. And the reason why he is saying that, because when it came to Krakoa, it was made by 3 people: Magneto, Charles Xavier, Mormont Taggart. But Mormont Taggart was a betrayer. She was a traitor, not betrayer, but she was a traitor. And so she left. It came down to Charles and Magneto. And then Magneto left to go to Arakko. And that left Charles alone. And with Charles being left alone, it's Magneto saying, Charles has this dream, and when it came to his dream, it's the idea of mutants and humans being able to live together. Now, it's not a crazy dream, but unfortunately, it's a hard dream to reach, because humans hate us and sometimes we hate them. And so when it came to Krakoa, it kind of worked out for both of our dreams. A safe place for mutants, but for Charles, a way we can try to build a bond with humans and mutants without trying to go to war every single time with humans. But unfortunately, with Magneto gone, he feels like Charles might take big time stakes. If he does that, it could technically hurt the mutant race across the board. And so it is Magneto saying, please, Storm, just watch over him. And so then we jump over to I.S.E the Unbeaten. Now remember, when it comes to I.S.E, her mutant ability is that she cannot lose. And that is a very cool mutant ability. But when it came to Uranos, when he had attacked Arakko, she had basically jumped sides, because she knew there was no way that she'll be able to actually handle Uranos. And her powers told her, hey, join his side so you can go ahead and win and stay alive. But the problem is, though, You right now have the great ring of Arakko coming here and say, it's time for you to go ahead and give up your seat. But at the same time, we're here to basically stop you because you're never really trying to help us out. You're only here to help yourself out. And honestly, that is correct because every single time something happens, when it comes to A.X.E, she'll join the side that is going to win. Even if it could kill off the people that she supposedly cared for, she'll still join their side instead because her power says you always have to win. And so when came to Uranos, she did jump sides. And so Storm's saying, when you did that, you hurt your fellow mutants, your fellow Arakko mutants. And that is a problem. And so we think it'll be a good idea for you to go ahead and give up your seat. Now, when it comes to her seat does basically deal with the idea of losing, how to handle losses. But the problem is though, when it comes to A.X.E the Unbeaten, she never truly understands of losing something. And that is where the Fisherman and Storm comes in. And the reason why, because you have Storm telling A.X.E the Unbeaten that everybody is going to be judged. Now, if you're from Earth, but you're on a different planet, you're still going to be judged because originally you came for Earth. And so sooner or later, A.X.E is going to be judged. Now again, when it comes to her mutant ability, she most likely will be okay because again, she can never lose. But then you have the Fisherman come in. And when he does come in, he does challenge her to an understanding battle. Yeah, you heard that right. A battle of understanding. And what I mean by that is the Fisherman saying, listen very closely, A.X.E the Unbeaten. You have never lost, which means that you never truly understand the idea of losing. And so when a loved one dies, do you actually suffer? When someone you care for so much die, do you actually suffer? When you lose something so important to you, you know, a knife, a weapon, or some kind of jewel that's from your family, when you lose those items, do they truly matter to you? And unfortunately, they don't. And so she realized that she's a heartless person, that her ability made her heartless because she never truly understands the idea of losing something. She never has and she never will. And so unfortunately, she cannot sit in the seat of loss because she never truly had understand the idea of loss. And so this is A.X.E the Unbeaten being removed from her spot from the Great Ring of Arakko. But then we have to jump over to WizKid. And when we do, it's really more of WizKid trying to hack into the files of Abigail Brand. Now remember, she died when Uranos came to Arakko and just wiped out 98% of mutants that were on Arakko. With that being said, she was one of them. But Cable and also WizKid realized that she is hiding something. Now we already know what she actually is hiding because we saw her earlier. She has been working alongside with Orchid. And let's not forget, Orchid is a new evil organization in Marvel Comics that are trying their best to wipe out the mutant race. And the question is, why is she trying to help them out to kill off her own race? Either way, when it comes to WizKid, he does hack into her computer files. Now, when he does that, Cable does arrive, and the two of them find out what she actually is trying to do. Now, we are not specifically told what they found out, but what they do see, it ticks off Cable so much that he is definitely down to kill off Abigail Brand. Now, we're going to cover Legion of X number 6. Even though we have not covered the earlier issues of Legion of X, I really want to sit down and cover this issue because it's really more of Legion going up against Uranos. But in the opening page of this tie-in, we pick up with Legion just meditating, except that is the moment he is confronted by the Celestial, who's all like, hey man, listen, I'm going to judge you. Except he gives Legion the ability to choose his own judgment. Now, the reason why, because Legion is a very powerful character. He could most likely destroy a universe. Actually, he has. As a matter of fact, he's able to create a universe. As a matter of fact, he has. And so with that kind of power, it's more of like, okay, you know what? I'm going to let you judge yourself, but start from the very beginning on how you're going to judge yourself. And so we jump back to the earlier chapters of A.X.E of Judgement, where it came to Uranos going to Arakko for 1 hour. And in that 1 hour, he was able to kill off 98% of the mutants out there. And so we come to find out that apparently there was a battle between Uranos and also Legion. And the question is now, how did that battle actually go? Who won that battle? Because the only information we got was Uranos came to Arakko, he wrecked the place, and he left once his hour was up, and that was it. Come to find out, there was more to the story. Now, we kind of find out that right after Uranos had arrived on Arakko, well, Nightcrawler had challenged A.X.E the Unbeaten, and that is very huge. And the reason why, because when it came to A.X.E the Unbeaten, she realized with her mutant ability that Uranos was going to win the battle against the mutant race. And so she basically jumped sides to help Uranos kill off the mutant race. Now, with that being said, Nightcrawler's main plan was to remove her, meaning that get her far away from the other mutants before she's able to kill them off alongside with Uranos, because no matter who goes against her, they're going to lose no matter what. And so with that being said, you didn't have Nightcrawler just teleport her somewhere far away, just that she'll no longer be a threat for the time being against the other mutants. And so then we finally see Legion be confronted by Uranos. Now, once he is confronted by Uranos, it does lead into a battle. And really, this is a battle of possibilities. Things that could possibly happen when it comes to the two characters fighting against one another. And what I mean by that, they're not physically fighting. They're fighting in the minds. And so with them fighting in their minds, they're seeing all the different possibilities their battles could go. Now, at the same time, Legion is also powering up Nightcrawler to give him the extra boost he needs to get everybody somewhere safe, because when it comes to Uranos' attack, he did not come alone. He came with a bunch of weapons that will still continue on to fight even after Uranos' hour is up. Either way, this leads into a conversation between Uranos and also Legion. And really, when it comes to the conversation between Uranos and Legion, it's really more about the idea that Uranos wants Legion to know that if they do battle, it's most likely going to end with one of them or both of them dying. But the thing is, you have Uranos say, are you okay with the idea of dying? Because we all know that you want to be a leader, that one day you want to be able to replace your father, Charles Xavier. You want to actually help people. But let me ask you this question right here. Are you okay with dying before being able to accomplish those goals? And that is a very huge question to ask. Now, with that being said, because you have Legion actually thinking about that question, that small hesitation that Legion gives Uranos is all Uranos needs to be able to attack Legion and begin the process of trying to kill him. Now, luckily for Legion, he is saved by somebody, and that somebody is a new version of Banshee. Now, when it comes to this new version of Banshee, I really want to say who this character is once we are able to dive deeper into Sins of Sinister, a later storyline coming up in the Destiny of X coverage. Either way, when it comes to this version of Banshee, he was able to save Legion and say, you cannot die today. Like right now, Mother Righteous, another character we saw in the earlier parts of A.X.E Judgement Day, apparently she has big plans for Legion. And so with those big plans, unfortunately, he cannot die right now. He has to stay alive. And so you actually have this Banshee say, right now, you have to be a leader, a protector, because when it came to Nightcrawler, he was teleporting everybody to the altar. And when it comes to the altar, it's really more of this pocket dimension that's inside Legion's mind. And so right now, there are a lot of people in his mind right now hoping that he'll be able to protect them, but once it's done, wanted down the road, be a leader for them. And so with that being said, Legion realized he cannot give up and he has to continue on to fight. And so this leads into Legion being confronted by Magneto. Now, when it comes to Magneto, we can tell right now this takes place after Magneto had fought against Uranos lost that battle, got a hole in his chest, and right now trying to use his powers to stay alive. But on top of that, Magneto is about to leave with Storm to fight against Uranos again, but this time on Krakoa. Now with that being said though, before he does leave, he does tell Legion, I have one request for you, and I feel like you're the only person who is capable of actually accomplishing this mission. And that mission is, I need you to stay here and keep fighting against the forces of Uranos to help protect Arakko, because Uranos did leave behind a bunch of machines to continue to fight even though he had left Arakko. And so when it comes to Magneto, he feels like Legion is the only one capable of actually doing this. And matter of fact, Magneto is right. Legion is able to take out all the machines and protect Arakko on top of that. Now, the book does close this with us finding out, or really getting a reminder, that Magneto had died. We saw that in A.X.E of Judgement Day number 4. Magneto had died when it came to fighting against Uranos once again. Now, after that death, well, it led to Legion realizing that he did the right thing. He did listen to Magneto. He was the right person to protect Arakko, to defeat the machines that were left behind by Uranos. Unfortunately, Magneto still died, and maybe, just maybe, Legion was able or could have been able to save Magneto's life. Unfortunately, it's too late. Magneto had died. On top of that, when it came to the final judgment for, well, Legion, got a thumbs up. And the book ends on that note right there. And that ends today's comic book video. So guys, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But I'll see y'all next time. Later.